game. That is about the highest praise I have for the writing though, but I'll get into that more later.
Mate.
Outside of the vast abundance of these lengthy dialogue sequences, Subverse is really broken down into three main areas. Firstly, you've got the shoot 'em up, top-down ship combat, where you move around with the keyboard and fire and aim with the mouse. Well, I mean, kind of. Your projectiles don't quite match up with where your crosshair is aimed half the time, so you've got to kinda lead your shots to compensate for the direction and enemies moving. You ever play that game Asteroids? Well, forget it, because this is nothing like that. Depending on who your co-pilot is, you've got alternate attack modes. You can also dash forward to either dodge or ram into someone. And there's a turbo mode if you need to get the hell out of harm's way.
Nice one, lad.
Gotta say that it does look pretty nice and it plays smoothly, but I just found that this whole thing got old pretty fast and it just becomes monotonous and repetitive. They never tell you how many waves or enemies are left, so I was really just mindlessly strafing around these cordoned off areas, shooting constantly. Often losing track of where the crosshair is because of the sheer amount of particle effects on the screen. I mean, it's like trying to play darts while someone shines a flashlight in your eyes.
Absolutely.
You don't really need to worry too much about being killed though, because your shield recharges automatically, and the game has always conveniently given me health pickups whenever I've taken too much damage. But I just find that I'm always playing through these sections in autopilot mode, no pun intended, and it just doesn't really offer up any serious challenge. Ships often look like certain parts of the male or female anatomy, but it's really just a visual difference. You just use the same strategy against these mostly unremarkable looking enemy ships until the whole thing comes to an end. The few times you come up against tougher ships and bosses that actually have different attack patterns, I found were way more fun to play, but these are sadly pretty few and far between. Finishing these combat sequences nets you extra credits and resources, which can then be spent on upgrades for the ship. It's just, these upgrades are so incremental that they don't even make that much of a difference. Like, I mean, a 5% damage increase isn't really that noticeable, man. Still though, it is a serviceable, just simplistic combat system, and really the most exciting this thing ever gets, because the other mode is the turn-based combat, which is a lot slower and more methodical. So slow and methodical that I even kind of struggled to think of any jokes or insults I could work in here. It's like trying to insult a slab of concrete. Where do you start?
Fire away. One less scumbag.
This is where you place your characters down on these tiles and take on all these different enemies using a combination of all your abilities to wipe out multiple waves, choosing either Lily or Killy to lead these manticore troops that do your bidding.
Jolly good job.
You ever play that game called XCOM? Well, forget it, because this is nothing like that. There's really not that much depth to this mode either. You're either choosing between a ranged or a melee attack here, and there's not much more to it than just clicking on an enemy and repeating it until everyone's dead.
Taking the shot.
15 minutes later.
Lily and Killy do have different abilities, but Lily's easily the best though, simply because she's able to heal the other units, though you don't actually control when she does this. And you can